Okay. Well, thank you. My name is Mindahi Bastida from the Otomi-Toltec peoples from Central Mexico. Currently living in between Mexico and New York. I have been here in New York for a couple of years, ever since 2015, as professor at the Union Theological Seminary, and later on, ever since the pandemic. 2 years ago, I've been working with the Center for Secret Studies and the Fountain. I am also the program director of the Original Nations program at the Fountain, and a member of the Mother Earth delegation and the main staff of the Eagle and the Condor Council of the Americas. So what I want to share with you today is the New Dawn and original instructions and principles to be. This is a compilation of original instructions in my visits to many different peoples, and I was living among the Shuswap for 1 year, but mainly it's from the Otomi-Toltec peoples from I am from. This in the picture is the Teotihuacan, Naguhiati in our language. Teotihuacan was an imposed name by the Aztec, but the city was already abandoned. And you can see that the sun pyramid over there matches with the mountain in the background. So they were really taking into consideration territory and landscapes and mindscapes. So accordingly, with our prophecies and the teachings that we have received, we are in a special time now. And it is called the New Dawn of Original Nations, or also related to the Eagle and the Condor prophecy. People coming together is what we call the unification process and the New Dawn at the same time. This was prophesied, not just by our peoples, but many peoples. And in Mexico was delivered by the Tlatoani, or the last, let's say, emperor, kind of emperor. There were not emperors here, but the last Tlatoani, the last great chief, Cuauhtemoc, in 1521. And he said in a very beautiful way, our son has hidden, our son has hidden his face from us. And in complete darkness, he has left us. But we know that he will be back again, that he will return again, and once again, he will shine on us. So it has also to do with the presence of Quetzalcoatl, the feather serpent. You know, the feather serpent is very important in our peoples, not just in Central Mexico, but in many places around the world, because it talks about the presence of this being that came to teach us how to live in peace with Mother Earth, in harmony with our brothers and sisters and other relatives. So the New Dawn was sculpted in the Piedra del Sol, in the sun stone, and it is marking the closing of the old cycle happened upon the completion of the fifth sun during the 2012, 2013, May 3rd, 2013, began the 13th cycle of the cleansing. So we are going to encounter May 3rd, 2026 of the end of this 13-year cycle. So we need to be prepared for that. And then the sixth sun is going to come. And also we are going to, it's the beginning of the waiting for the coming back of Quetzalcoatl, the feather serpent. So, and it has to do with the stars, especially for us, it's very important Venus. and of course, Grandma Moon and Father Sun in these cycles. On March 26th and December 11th mark those episodes when Venus provoked eclipses due to its proximity to the moon. Venus also eclipsed the sun on June 9, 2012. So all of these phenomena, celestial bodies, are marking these changes. So the new dawn for us is that is when Venus is in a purified state and when ready to rise from the waters of the West on May 3rd, 2013, as I told you, which is when the Maya mark as closing of the 13 Baktun cycle and the ritual entering of a 13-year period in the 14 Baktun cycle. So this is long foreseen and our peoples have been waiting for these times. So this allows to connect with creation stories of time and space, but also in a cosmological and most important in the spiritual and the ecological level. So this is our teachings that we are bringing today, not just from the Otomi-Toltec, but from many cultures that we have the sense of we, not the sense of I, because we live in the community. So we go from the, we are now sharing that we must go from the I to the we, from the me to the we. And this sense is about ser, estar, and trascender, being, to be, and transcendence. So because we understand that we are from the consciousness of a collective self, not an individual self. And we are from the consciousness of presence in a place and time, not from an abstract and nowhere place. So that's the reason that territory is so important and the sacred sites around, because they give us that presence, those ancestors give us the collective personality, personhood that we have as peoples. So we are from the consciousness of spiritual transcendence by living in service for the caring of life. And we believe in our teachings that we came to this planet, to this Mother Earth, for the care of life. That's the general mission as human beings. So this is the remembrance why we are here in this world, not to take over, but to take care. So you might have your own conception around an original instruction, but we understand that this comes from a mandate based in the original law, in the law of origin related to the Great Spirit. And in present times, the original nations or the original instructions are delivered by the Great Spirit during spiritual consultations and is or are held by spiritual authorities who take and give care for the good living of the diverse community. I want to say something about the good living, and it's very different from the good life. You know, the good life is all about consumption, and the good living is about to live in sacredness, in this spiritual connection with the four sacred elements, with the Father Sky and the heart of Mother Earth. So that implies principles and responsibilities. So what is a principle? A principle is a prime determinant of all decisions we take consciously in our human and spiritual condition. It's not just in the matter, but in the spirit. So I'm going to present to you some of the 13 principles. I'm going to touch just around 7. The most important ones that we hold and we share with others. The first one is love. And I remember a woman telling me, how can you give water if your well is empty? Well, that's the purpose of love. How can you give love if you don't love yourself? If you don't love what is around, your family, your people? So this is honor yourself, your material condition. You were born as you were born. You got to love what you have. So also beyond that, beyond the individual, love your human community and the others who love those nearest Mother Earth and the cosmos. Love the children, the elders, the stones, the stars, the plants, the trees, the animals, the birds, and of course, love Mother Earth and all her beings that we are relatives, your relatives. And also love the celestial bodies because we are not alone. Mother Earth got family, not just us as children, but she got bigger family. Father Sun, Grandma Moon, Venus, and other stars. And remember, the Pleiades are very important in some of our cultures because we are said that we come from the Pleiades as well. We landed in the Mu continent, in Lemuria. And around this, there is a mandate in the spiritual consultations that we have been taking lately, is that think beautifully. Think beautifully is very important because most of the thoughts that we have are negative or repetitive. Just very few are positive. So think beautifully is very basic. It's love in ourselves. And send blessings to your relatives often. And when in service to Mother Earth, give her your love. This will elevate our collective consciousness. This other principle is around time and space order. Remember, there is a picture over here. Every equinox, every solstice, the ancestral pyramids, ancestral cities, they were built in such a way that they not just responded to the sacred sites, but also responded to the cycles of the moon and the cycles of the sun. So for example, here you can see how in March 21st, the sun passes its rays right there in between these pyramids to mark these cycles. And one important thing is that we are living in cycles and not in a linear way of thinking. We must respect and live no slower and no faster than the rhythms marked by nature. This is very important because now we can see that in many places, because of food scarcity, they are trying to produce more. And in places that is not feasible, or we want to do more than we can. And sometimes we get so exhausted and we get sick. Also, our Mother Earth gets sick because you put more pressure, and so this is to talk about time and space order as a principle to really take care about the cycles of time and space, and relate with each world direction on Earth in equal terms. It is important the North, it's important the East, the West, and the South. All of them are important because then we have balance. If we don't acknowledge one of those directions, then we are lacking something. It has to do also with honoring the Black, the red, the white, and yellow communities with equity, respect, and trust. So when this doesn't happen, we are not in alignment with sacred. And remember that communities are comprised by all of the members of the way of life, referring that we are not just talking about human beings, we are talking about all plants and animals and the minerals and the crystal world. This other principle is also very important. It's mutual and inclusive participation with self-determination. This is beyond democracy, because in our peoples, we really try to work around consensus and to take into consideration not just the elders, but also the children, the women, all of the community. But for this, there's much responsibility to participate as members of the community where you have been born, or if you have moved to other place, it's in equal terms. You got responsibilities. Many of us, we have moved from one place to another, or periodically we move to another place, but responsibilities follows you. It's not just that, oh, I'm going to go to the beach and I'm going to do whatever I want. We must ask permission to be in the place and to be really respectful and in reciprocity with the place as well. So this is about self-determination implies responsibility. So there's a concept in our peoples which is called inforste. Every culture has its own, but it's kind of solidarity, but it's more than solidarity because it implies responsibility. It implies that you have to do it without waiting for retribution, but you have to do this community work, collective work. It's collective work that we need to come together and do the work together in the community. So for that, we look for that and ensure that local matters are discussed in inclusive self-determination and intercultural ways, because sometimes, there's people who are not from the same culture, and we need to also to include them. And when we go to another place, we need to be included because we also got responsibilities. So this one, let me check because I cannot see properly. Let me check. The previous one, sometimes it's, so I don't know why it's going that way. So there's a new regime that is being born in the world, but we have, of course, our traditional laws, constitutionary laws of each people. Even if the treaties are not respected, we still have inherent rights. So in that, there is a newborn regime that is called the rights of nature. And it was born in Ecuador for the first time in a constitution. And later on, the earth jurisprudence through the law 071 was also applied in Bolivia as the first nation state that recognizes the plurinational composition of peoples. So ever since December 2010, Mother Earth is a subject of right. And, there is this way that we can defend Mother Earth, because we are part of this beautiful planet. In the case of other countries, like in Mexico, in July 2013, in the Constitution of Mexico City, is acknowledged the environmental and earth rights for the first time. There is no still secondary laws, but it's already implicit in the Constitution. So those, just for you to take into consideration about how we have been advancing. And everywhere else, the rights of nature are being acknowledged. But we look for earthly jurisprudence more than just the rights of nature. So the recognition of biocultural diversity is another key principle, because in our peoples, we don't separate nature and culture. They are intertwined. So that's the reason biocultural diversity, biocultural heritage is a very important principle, a very important concept that we need to defend. Because if if there is an ecocide, there is also ethnocide. And remember what happened in the north here in the United States and Alaska and everywhere else, the displacement of peoples. And so that provokes biocultural erosion, the loss of languages, the loss of culture, and the loss of ecosystems due to the exploitation of Mother Earth, and because the activities are not taken into consideration and not being carried out or taken care of. So for the beginning, we say that we need to do research about the legacy of our ancestors, especially about how they lived in this world. This is so important because that's the legacy that thanks to our ancestors, we are here. And thanks to our ancestors, there's going to be future generations. So also we need to identify original biodiversity in the territory you are called to live and take care. Because if you move from one place to another, also you need to know what kind of plants are there, what kind of animals, what kind of minerals, because there's medicine and there must be acknowledgement. So there's a need to learn about diversity of domesticated seeds, grain, fruits, and animals. If possible, if there is a biocultural heritage network, we should join them and learn from the educational resources that they offer. We know that in Bolivia, in Mexico, and in Spain and other countries, there are these biocultural heritage networks led mostly by some scientists that are committed with society as well, and not just with enterprises. So that's one point that we need to take into consideration. And around the recognition of biocultural diversity is also that we need to rewrite our histories, because we need to understand that because of colonization, we have lost in many places the histories, what is very important for us to be acknowledged as peoples. So we also have in many places we are, in this case, that we are losing, and there is language erosion or practices. So we need to reconstruct languages and related knowledge systems. And this is the precautionary principle. The precaution principle is always been acknowledged by science, but in our peoples has been always something that we have practiced since immemorial time. And we say that in any initiative, in anything, project that you endeavor or task, you need to apply these precautionary principles to avoid the risk or negative affecting life systems. And we need to restrain or to think about the possible consequences of your actions and really restrain and stop from doing things if they are they are going to provoke negative effects if there is uncertainty about the effects on life systems or peoples. And remember that actions and even thoughts have an effect in a small and large scales of time and space. Sometimes you can hear even the scientists saying about this theory of the butterfly effect. Whatever you do in some place affects into another place. So that's the reason we need to apply precautionary principle. In science, in 1999, I was working with the International Institute for Sustainable Development based in Ottawa, and there are other headquarters in Europe. And we were developing this principle, but it was called science and precaution. Before carrying out anything, you need to be certain that you're not going to affect in a negative way. And this one is reciprocity. And reciprocity is one of the most powerful principles that we have as original nations and peoples. For the beginning, we are gaining some acknowledgement, some recognition worldwide, because now even the United Nations, they are saying that the original knowledge, the traditional knowledge, as they call it, traditional ecological knowledge, is important for the survival and to thrive, or even for the transcendence of human species. But we know that in any occasion that even if some people have arrived to our territories or they have taken over, we are raising awareness that they need to ask for permission to enter in any place, even if it's not sacred, but they need to ask permission or to acknowledge the people who were there, or to acknowledge the sacred animals and the sacred plants. So it's very important to ask permission when we enter any place. And we must, in reciprocity, to thank Mother Earth and any space you have entered. Most important is to carry out ceremony in reciprocity with Mother Earth, in reciprocity for what gives us life. So doing offerings and payments periodically is so important. Many people forgot how to do or how to carry out ceremonies. So that's the reason we have to come together to remember each other how to do that. If we don't know, we can do this consultation with our brothers and sisters, with the elders, or just to go through spiritual consultation, through the dream time, or really to know, to exchange and to learn from each other. And in this, we also have received this instruction to carry out pilgrimages. It's very, very important to acknowledge sacred sites and to carry out pilgrimages to those sacred sites, as our elders, our ancestors used to do. It's what our elders are saying, and not just in my communities, but in many other communities. So it's very important to carry out them, and if possible, with the spiritual authorities, spiritual leaders. And the other one is in reciprocity, is also exchange the word, and this allows for the intercultural dialogue. We are in such a mess in this world, especially from the modern society's actions. So we need to come together and raise awareness and act together and feel together, so we can really carry out something together for the transcendence of human species. Because this is not just their problem, it's our problem, it's human problem. So in reciprocity, we need to also maybe to use technology that really supports life systems, not technology that kills Mother Earth. And so in this reciprocity also, we always say that we must be thankful for the heritage delivered to the present generations. So we have something to deliver to the future generations. And as you think about the world you are inheriting to your children, think about the children, what kind of children you are inheriting to the world. This is very important because, you know, at the United Nations, even when we talk about 7 generations to come, we always think about, oh, what are we going to deliver to the future generations? What kind of world? Of course, we think about that, and it's very needed, it's necessary, but it's not enough. Our deep philosophy tells us what kind of children we are delivering to this Mother Earth, because we are not so important. We are just another species. And the modern world thinks that we are the most intelligent ones. We are not so intelligent. You can see the mess that we are living in this world with this climate crisis, climate change, whatever it's called, and the scarcity of, you know, even food in many places. Well, the last one I want to share with you today, because I have another presentation for the 13 principles, but this is the one about collective dignity as a principle. Because dignity is an inherent quality of every being. One can be an individual being or a collective being, depends on us. And you know what happens when it's just an individual being. You know, what happens is sometimes it's just that they don't take care about others. And there's so much greed that is killing families, is killing communities, is killing Mother Earth, is killing nations, that greed. So the dignity of Mother Earth is also the dignity of the collective being. Because we know, because of the mining systems and the whatever is happening, horrible things happening in our territories and to Mother Earth is being violated. So we do, because they don't take into consideration the sacredness of the sacred elements. So when Mother Earth's dignity is violated, our dignity as a collective being is also violated. And thank you so much for this opportunity. I have this 2 YouTube and 1 Vimeo. If you want to, I can share with you about the creation story based on Moon and Venus. And this is a research that my wife has been doing for almost 2 decades. So we can share that with you about how we relate to the cosmos, how our ancestors really were very aware about how we relate to each other, and how our creation story is based not just with Mother Earth, but in relationship with other celestial bodies. And the other one is the challenges that some traditional spiritual authorities are facing because of to defend their territories and sacred sites. So I can share that with you. I can send to Ian this presentation and you can have it. So thank you so much. Kamadi Kwada, Kamadi Ku, Monchingintini. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Ian?
Yes, thank you, Mindahi. It was amazing. I don't know. Do you have time to answer any questions if there is any?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Just we are here to meet each other and to know each other.
Okay, I'd like to open it up. Hold on one second. Yes, if anyone has any questions, please either put it in the chat or unmute yourself. Otherwise, there will be a talking circle held later today. Time is still unknown, but it will be posted on the website, I believe, within the next hour or so.
Yeah, Ian, the talking circle will be announced in the what do you call that? Conference call, right, when we're in that section.
Okay. Okay, we have a question here, Mindahi. It's, can you suggest the path of linking white-led organizations interested in protecting wild places?
I think we must have an opportunity to come together with allies. We have to make room for some allies that are beginning to understand ancestral way of living and ancestral philosophies. And I think this fora, this is a great opportunity to bring together dialogue, intercultural dialogue. But then more than ever is needed that these, people who are beginning to interact with us, they understand that they have double work to do, to carry out. For the beginning, to be humble, and also to respect the ways of how we understand life. That is in cycles, it's not just linear. Of course, we need to come to an agreement how we can work together, because this is the time for us to really remind them that we can work together, but there are also principles that they need to follow. So I think mostly around sacred sites, that, the question is about wild places. 80% of biodiversity is in our territories, but it's not just because, let's not take it for granted. There is a lot of work that we carry out, a lot of prayers, and the way of how we live in harmony. So yes, there is not just this willingness, but also in the reciprocity, there is this responsibility, how we can work together. And in that, there is a need for education, educate ourselves and others around these principles and around the new way of agreements, let's say contracts or institutional arrangements. Because remember, even the last agreements that were signed in the past, they were not accomplished. They are not, and still pending. It's a tax pending, but there should be a way how we can come together. And I think we have some experiences already. There's very good people, allies, some good organizations, but we need to be sure that they are not working in exploiting Mother Earth, because we have, at least some basic principles that we cannot. For example, let's put just an example. We cannot work with oil companies that they are digging in and they are just exploiting Mother Earth. So that's just an example, and many other companies that are just taking over, the mining companies, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you.
Thank you, Mindahi. We have one more question here, which is kind of leading into what you were just speaking about, but it is, what advice do you have for cities wanting to integrate ancestral wisdom?
Yes, we are thinking about houses of original thought, especially for the communities, in the communities, but it also can be, they can be built in the cities where in many cities we have presence of our elders and original peoples and nations people in the, in big cities. So in there, they can come together and there should be an exchange around ancestral wisdom, or even in the universities or I think even in the board of directors of every single company, there should be an elder that carries this ancestral wisdom, so they can teach, or he or she can share these values whenever they are going to take a decision. There is this ancestral wisdom. So the presence of original nations and peoples at all levels must be in a progression, must be in advance, because we are in critical times. So that's why I think this question is so important.
Thank you, Mindahi. Do we have any more questions before we wrap up?
So yeah, are you going to send to me for the talking circle?
Yes, that's correct. Okay. I will. As soon as I have it, I will send that to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much to everybody. Blessings and be well. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.